So the other thing about this video, I made an essay video some time ago called The Eight-Headed Dragon Named ATEEZ. It was my first essay video, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it was not good. It's still available to watch on my Patreon. Just understand that it was my first time working on a K-pop essay video and really doing legitimate video editing and not just clipping together other stuff. So again, it's not very good, but if you want to check it out, it's on my Patreon. But after about 4.5 years of doing, content reaction and trying to build my secondary channel, I wanted to redo this video with the skill and knowledge I gained, as well as talk about ATEEZ's recent growth as global icons. So enjoy.
Welcome. Number 1, body movement. No sitting still. Number 2, only speak in glory. Leave your baggage at home.
None of that deep shit.
Number 3, don't tap the glass.
Rocket, 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 mettez l'eau, rocket, 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 mettez l'eau,
Don't this shit make a nigga wanna 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 Don't this shit make a nigga wanna
Here we go, we're gonna send this one out to the old school. All these motherfuckers in the
What does it mean to be a performer? Is it being able to control and demand the stage to your will? Is it being able to hype up and interact with the crowd? Or is it to bring a whole world to life by how you choose to portray a story or character? What if I were to say it's all three? And what if I were to say that ATEEZ are the embodiment of performance? K-pop is a visual media. While the songs are fun and catchy to listen to, the true appeal to K-pop is what the audience sees. The colorful hair, the flashy clothes, the jaw-dropping choreography, and yes, the idol's visuals itself. K-pop relies on how it looks with many years of groups and soloists coming and going. You're set to believe that what can be done in this tight-knit genre has been done. That was until ATEEZ opened the doors to new and exciting ways of performing, storytelling, and achieving the impossible. Using their music videos, music stages, and concerts, ATEEZ have shown a new way of performing, and that involves not only themselves and their staff, but their fans as well. Before we can dive into the topic, we first need to see how ATEEZ got to where they are, from a rookie new group to placing number 68 and 69 on the Billboard Hot 100. This is the Art of Performance, Episode 1, ATEEZ, The Hydra. On October 24th, 2018, the K-pop world would be introduced to one of many new boy groups. This particular boy group was from an unknown company named KQ Entertainment. Before this new group debuted, KQ had no intention of debuting an idol group. They didn't even have a trainee program. The closest idol group they had was a pre-existing boy group named Block B, who were under the subsidiary label named the Seven Seasons label, and soloist and producer named Eden. One day, staff were packing up storage to move buildings when one of them found a mixtape. This random mixtape was sent to them over a year ago by some random teen who wanted to be a producer. Giving the mixtape a listen, they called this teen and immediately added him to the producing team. Eden, the main producer, wasn't too pleased to be training this random kid and decided to make him memorize over 100 words related to producing overnight. Thinking he would quit on the spot. Much to Eden's shock, the kid memorized all the words. This kid, who randomly sent in a mixtape to an unknown company, memorized over 100 words overnight. It was even getting ready to join an entirely different company, became KQ Entertainment's first ever trainee. This kid's name was Kim Hongjun. Over the years, KQ would develop a trainee program, and slowly they would get more and more members. Soon, KQ would have their 8 final members. Captain of the group, Hongjun, Songhwa, Yuno, Yosong, San, Mingi, Wooyoung, and Jungho. Believing in ATEEZ and their potential, KQ CEO Kim Kyu-woo will personally fund ATEEZ going and staying in America to take dance classes, as well as to write and record their pre-debut song, From. These moments will be recorded and posted on YouTube under what is now called KQ Fellas. This 19-episode series will showcase ATEEZ's everyday trainee life and fun in America. ATEEZ will later return to Korea and will release 4 dance videos, one being a solo performance, done by member Yuno. After much teasing and anticipation, ATEEZ finally debuted with the double title track, Pirate King and Treasure, and the first album, Treasure, fall to zero. ATEEZ will sell over 430 copies on first day sales. While ATEEZ seemingly debuted as yet another boy group soon to be lost in the sea of idol groups, something was brewing on the west side of the world, something big. After debuting with Pirate King, ATEEZ would ready themselves for their first comeback. While most groups would try to stick to the same sound and concept for their first comeback, ATEEZ decided to do something different. ATEEZ released a teaser video and photos for the upcoming track Holla Holla, and these teasers were insane. Two contrasting looks for one album. On the left side would be the concept of Say My Name. The members are photographed in color, donning neutral warm colors of cream, brown, and beige. Some members were even wearing fur coats and pelts. On the right, we got the concept for Holla Holla. Gone are the colors, and ATEEZ are now photographed in monoscale. The members are wearing black square coats or black blazers, black fedoras, and black masks decorated in spikes and chains. The teaser video for Holla Holla would drop, and this is personally my favorite teaser video ever. ATEEZ will perform a snippet of Holla Holla in the dark clothes and monoscale background. While at first the video is tame, showing off formation and choreography, the video is immediately interrupted by Hongju's hand going past the borders of the video. This 3D effect soon takes over the video as members' hands, arms, and heads pass this safety net of the video. The members being heavily clothed helped with keeping attention as viewers were forced to pay attention to the performance. This hype around the teaser helped boost anticipation for the upcoming comeback. On January 15th, ATEEZ will release the full music video for Say My Name, and it was a massive hit. With this iconic chorus and viral driving dance move, Say My Name will reach success not only in Korea but in the West. Say My Name music video dripped with mystery and questions. Who are these cloaked people Hongju is walking through? Why is Yeosang in a glass box? Who are these masked doppelgangers? This will be the beginning in ATEEZ's lore. A month later, ATEEZ will drop a performance video of Holla Holla where we get to see the song fully performed. While Say My Name was a loud chant song that grabbed you by the throat and Holla Holla was a slow building song that was filled with eeriness and cynicism, all coming to a loud explosion of an ending. These two contrasting songs help give ATEEZ an edge of being able to do different concepts. With the hype and virality of both Say My Name and Holla Holla, KQ decided just 2-ish months after debut to send ATEEZ on tour in America. This was a risky move as ATEEZ were still rookies, with not a massive fan base. However, KQ had faith in the group and ATEEZ would go on their first ever global tour, and it was a success. It was rare at the time for a rookie group to be able to go out of the country and have sold out shows, 5 stops in America, 10 Europe, 2 Oceania. This would set a new path for ATEEZ's success. Typically when a group debuts, it's important to gain success in Korea as a way to stay afloat in the industry. Groups like SHINee, Red Velvet, EXO, and TWICE all had to gain natural success before ever making it to the US. ATEEZ bypassed Korean exposure and went straight to the West, and it paid off. ATEEZ would gain massive success and exposure in the West and were open to more opportunities. Invites to the React channel, KCON, Hello 82, and various American interviews. The massive recognition in America helped ATEEZ gain popularity in Korea as global idols. I like to believe that this decision helped set a path for newer groups from a small company to also start looking for success in the West and then finding success in Korea later on. After the successful tour, ATEEZ will release their third installment of their Treasure series, Treasure One to All. This will be a massive turning point for ATEEZ, as not only was this the first time ATEEZ were allowed to choose what the title track would be, Wave vs Illusion, Wave being the winner. This era also marked the first time ATEEZ got a music show win, with Wave gaining popularity in Korea. Let's fast forward to the year of absolute hell, 2020. The coronavirus was spreading, death counts were rising, people were quarantined, and the world just stopped. Companies were forced to postpone or straight up cancel their idols' concert to abide by temp laws. There was an unease of fear and anxiety as fans and idols wondered how they continue on with these new restrictions. Virtual fan calls and concerts were introduced to K-pop as a way for companies to continue revenue and idols to perform. At this time, ATEEZ had come back with their final installment of the Treasure series, Wonderland and Answer, both being spectacles in showmanship and music. ATEEZ would soon start their next series, Fever, with Fever Part 1 having another double title track, Inception and Thanks, with ATEEZ once again voting on what would be the title track, Inception being the winner. During this time, member Mingi would go on hiatus for mental health reasons, and ATEEZ would promote as a 7-member group, with them releasing the second installment in the series, Fireworks. ATEEZ were no strangers to virtual concerts, having to make up for their postponed concert in America. While the virtual concerts were a nice way for idols to continue performing, digital concerts could only do so much, especially during the mid sections of the concerts. On December 6, 2020, ATEEZ will perform on stage for Mnet Asian Music Awards, also known as MAMA. ATEEZ will both have a solo stage and collab stage, with Sam performing alongside Stray Kids' member Hyunjin and The Boys member Juyeon. This was the promotion for Mnet's newest survival show, Kingdom, a male spin-off of their previous survival show, Queendom, and a continuation of their prequel show, Road to Kingdom. Kingdom will have 6 male groups from various companies compete in stages to be crowned the kings of performance. ATEEZ will perform iconic stages during the run of the show, including 3 collab stages of rap, dance, and vocals, with Stray Kids and BTOB would ultimately end up in 3rd place. Though ATEEZ didn't win the show, the group submitted an image for themselves as top-tier performers in Korea and amongst their fellow idols. This especially impressed locals, as soon ATEEZ was gaining more recognition, with their upcoming comeback Fever Part 3 with Deja Vu and the return of member Mingi. After the run of Deja Vu, ATEEZ released the last installment of their Fever series, Fever Epilogue, with the double title track Turbulence and The Real, previously released and performed for Kingdom. ATEEZ will end the year with an announcement of them continuing their previously postponed concert. With a successful comeback and tour under their belt, ATEEZ was ready to open a new story in their journey. The World Series would drop with title tracks Gorilla, Bounty, and Crazy Form. This would be ATEEZ's most successful series, as they would earn their first #1 Billboard 200 with the World Series Fin. Bounty became a global hit, trending all over social media, and Gorilla would be a music show winner, winning 6 awards during its run. Now here we are in 2026. ATEEZ has released the latest series, Golden Hour Part 1, 2, and 3, and In Your Fantasy, a deluxe album. Golden Hour had the title track Work, with the upbeat song with heavy Latin influence, and yet another viral hit in both Western world and Korea. Golden Hour Part 2 had the braggadocious title track Ice on My Teeth, and yet another #1 on Billboard 200. Ice on My Teeth being a blend of hip-hop and minimalist, with cocky lyrics and a violin being played throughout the song. Golden Hour Part 3 had the summer title track Lemon Drop, a R&B focused song with heavy sex appeal and a refreshing sound. This album will reach #2 on Billboard 200, and Lemon Drop would give ATEEZ their first Hot 100 entry at number 69. Finally, Golden Hour Part 3 Deluxe would have the English title track In Your Fantasy, a classic 2000 throwback sex appeal song, with the members beckoning the listener to indulge in their fantasy. This album will also give ATEEZ their second Billboard 100 entry at number 68. ATEEZ have finished touring in America and Latin America for their newest concert, In Your Fantasy, as we wait for another comeback to release around February 6th. I like to think about ATEEZ's lore, not in how they became ATEEZ, their in-group lore. ATEEZ, like many other groups, actually has a story told within their music and performances. If you want in-depth knowledge about the lore, I highly suggest Eternities on YouTube. They do an amazing job at explaining the lore of ATEEZ. To summarize the lore, ATEEZ is split into 2 worlds, World A and World Z. Our main focus is on World A ATEEZ. Each member have their own story of being lost and finding hope and a sense of belonging or purpose. The 8 boys meet and become friends quickly before turmoil hits, and soon all 8 are separated once again. One day in a warehouse where they used to hang out, Hanjun is visited in his dreams by a dark-dressed man who hands him an hourglass. Hanjun awakens to the dream being real, and the 7 other members are teleported back to the warehouse where the hourglass transports them to World Z. In World Z, anything art-related is banned, and emotions are banned. A freedom fighter group is formed under the totalitarian government led by World Z ATEEZ, or better known in that world as the Black Pirates. The Black Pirates disappeared / got captured from their world, and World A ATEEZ are left to continue the fight. From the second album, ATEEZ had created this mysterious and intriguing world, having two sets of ATEEZ existing from different worlds brought in onlookers to see what the group was about. ATEEZ will have hints in their World Z counterparts throughout the Treasure series, with the two finally meeting in Answer before a massive attack separates them once again. ATEEZ would up the engagement during the Fever series, where they began to release 3 versions of the album: an A version, a Z version, and a diary version. The diary version of the albums would be a look into what was happening with the lore of ATEEZ. Lore Teeny would buy diary versions to build and connect the world, as there were entries for each member. The diary versions were not only a great way to engage with fans who love the story of ATEEZ, but it was also a great way to boost sales, as there was a reason to own the diary versions. Unlike some of the albums where there's members versions or theme versions which were all the same with just alternate photos in them in a different color scheme, diary version, while having a different photos from album A, gave different content. Within the photo books were diary entries scattered across the lore timeline, as we see each member's thoughts and opinions about what was going on around them. ATEEZ would finally immerse themselves within the lore with the release of the diary film, a movie-esque video where we would hear the members read out their diary entries with visuals to accompany them. Each member segment also had a preview of the Fever Part 1 album songs in the background. ATEEZ will continue this path of lore-heavy material with the release of Fever Part 2, Part 3, and Epilogue. Each music video having hints and clues riddled in them about the lore and what was happening in the story. On July 10, 2022, KQ Entertainment would drop a trailer for ATEEZ's upcoming album, The World Series. This was a jaw-dropping trailer for fans and non-fans alike, as this took ATEEZ to a whole nother level. The cinematography and editing made the entire trailer look like it was meant for an actual TV show, not a K-pop album. 2 days later, another trailer would drop, exciting fans and onlookers more for this comeback. On July 29, 2022, ATEEZ will release their hit song Gorilla, a psychedelic rock song mixed with screamo. This marks a massive push within ATEEZ's lore, as we see the World A members infiltrate World Z and become a step-in for World Z members who have disappeared. The World Series would continue with bouncing as members became fugitives, showcased at their concerts in Korea, where the members would have vandalized mugshots sitting outside the venue day 1, and day 2, the exact same display was destroyed. In Crazy Foreign, where we see the members wreak chaos in World Z with callbacks to previous releases. In between the World Series, ATEEZ will release one of the most visually stunning and musically pleasing songs, Halazia. This eerie song mixed with hip-hop beats and EDM was a spectacle to say the least. The way the entire video was shot, it made it feel like a movie. The build to Halazia was memorable, as no one knew this would drop. ATEEZ were given a notification of a YouTube live that was simply the music video background of a ruined mall, and every moment something would appear in the video, whether it be writing on the wall or a blue feather floating. Also in the video, the sound of a bell would go off. This bell sound was used in the song. The live was only an hour long, and once it ended, no one could go back to it. This one live showed how into KQ and ATEEZ were with the fandom, as they allowed the fans to feel like they were in the know of things. Using the secret lives, QR codes, Morse code, and tip accounts, ATEEZ felt as though they were a part of the lore itself, in more ways than one. Artist has to start somewhere small. Very rarely can an artist just pop out the woodwork selling out stadiums. ATEEZ is no different. KQ Entertainment, as mentioned, sent ATEEZ on their first tour after just 2-ish months of debut. Thanks to companies like Makestar and Hello 82, ATEEZ had the opportunity to come to America and perform in sold-out shows. ATEEZ even went to Europe and Australia. ATEEZ's humble beginnings would slowly begin to grow as each comeback and tour, the venues grew more and more and more. One thing about concerts is that they have evolved over the years. Back then, a concert was a simple artist standing on stage, singing live, playing an instrument. The real fan craze started around the time of Motown, where artists were now dancing as they sang. Jackson 5, Diana Ross, Temptations. These artists are credited for their fun and upbeat performances, all the while still singing and playing live. Years passed as soon artists began to evolve their performances, more specifically with concerts. Artists like Michael Jackson were visionaries as they implemented live bands, choreography, pyrotechnics, and other visuals to their shows, making them worth the money. Now in today's time, concerts are expected to be visual spectacles: acting, singing, dancing, pyrotechnics, videos playing on a giant screen, robotic arms waving about, dancers flinging and flying everywhere, wardrobe flawless. I can honestly make a whole video about how concerts have become the new runway, especially in K-pop. K-pop is no stranger to these spectacle shows, with groups like BTS putting on amazing performances, especially during their Love Yourself era. ATEEZ are no different, as their show has evolved from simple stages, maybe 2 or 3 stage outfits, performing with songs they already had released, did some dance covers and games, then called it a night. Now their shows are full-on immersions of their lore. The moment the show starts, ATEEZ are thrusted into the world of ATEEZ, more specifically World Z. Dancers dressed in dark clothes swarm the stage as ATEEZ rises above them. The stage immediately explodes with life as members leap and dance about. The adrenaline of fans chanting and screaming give ATEEZ energy as the music carries over. The latest concert set is made like a musical of sorts. Dance breaks from the members infused with dramatic acting, visual props like a giant eye watching the crowd and a giant hand reaching out. VJRs between segments of each stage. ATEEZ have taken concerts to a whole new level for their fans and are continuing to build more and more of a spectacle. But no concert is without its performers, and each ATEEZ member brings a different type of performance to the group. The captain of the group, Hanjun is a driving force when it comes to performing. No matter the concept or genre, Hanjun puts 110% of his energy into his performance. Hanjun is what I consider a mood setter for the performance. With songs like Wonderland, Thrill, Gorilla, Say My Name, and Illusion, Hanjun's opening raps and or intros set the pace for both ATEEZ and ATEEZ. As a dancer, Hanjun is one of the 2 overlooked in the group, the second being Jungkook. All members in the group are phenomenal dancers, however, it'd be a lie to say they all equally stand out. Some members stand out more than others, and that's okay. This doesn't diminish the skills they've built. Hanjun is a member who takes advantage of his center time mostly during his rap breaks, regardless if he's surrounded by his members or backup dancers. Hanjun as a performer, while not as appreciated or glamorized like other members, doesn't look for said adoration. He enjoys when ATEEZ compliments him on his performance and gets incredibly shy when complimented. Hanjun is very confident in his performance and loves getting feedback from ATEEZ. Constructive feedback, not disguised hate. As mentioned, Hanjun takes advantage of his center moments, but you can see him enjoying himself in the back as well. And you can especially see him take it in and enjoying his group mates performing. The best way to describe Hanjun in fewer words is that he is the captain. He sets the mood and energy for those involved. He makes sure to pick up any missing parts as to make sure there is no empty area when a member is unable to perform. Hanjun wears the title captain with pride, and he deserves that title. To talk about evolving as a performer, I have to talk about Seonghwa, as his evolution from a member with barely any lines to having killing parts in songs like Ice on My Teeth, Utopia, Work, and Inception. Seonghwa is a mixed bag as a performer. One moment you're getting this light, elegant voice carrying throughout the venue, and the next you get a rapper with a deep voice flowing through a screaming, cheering crowd. I actually plan to make an entirely separate video about Seonghwa's dueling visuals, but for now, Seonghwa is a performer who fits what is needed. You need something silly and lighthearted? Seonghwa's got it. You need something more intense and thrilling? Seonghwa's got it. You need something that's sensual and alluring? Seonghwa's got it. Seonghwa is an eye-catching performer as he can both easily blend into the background, but yet still have standout moments, even if not front and center. You can find Seonghwa giving it his all. If Hanjun is the captain of the ship, then Seonghwa is the siren luring us into the ocean. Our golden retriever puppy man, Yuno, is commonly seen in a teeny bill as a source of energy and light in memorable moments. While it's easy to gush over Yuno's absolute cute energy, I adore that ATEEZ is able to see Yuno for his immense talent. Yuno is the driving force of the technical part of performing. Yuno learns the choreography quicker than the others, and thus he teaches parts back and helps clean up the look of the choreography. Yuna is a fantastic dancer. He's a phenomenal singer as seen in Gorilla, Empty Box, and his solo Slide to Me, but he is also a hard worker. Yuna is the technical side of ATEEZ that we sometimes get to see. He's the one to fix, change, and polish a performance. We see this in the work behind the scenes video where he's workshopping with BB Trippin and ATEEZ members for the choreo. We also see in the same video how intensely focused Yuno is when learning something new. I want to focus on this aspect of Yuno because while I love his onstage performing, his behind the scenes focus is something that needs to be highlighted. So easy is it to see the final product and be in awe at it. Sometimes we forget there's technicality to these performances, not just the fireworks and pyrotechnics, but the performance itself. Yuno and ATEEZ is the engine. He's the one to keep the group going, whether it be his good energy and funny actions or his strive for perfection of himself and the other members. Yeosang is a beloved member for his absolute docile personality. An idol with a body like his, it's amazing how little he uses it to fight back against his members, or how little KQ actually utilizes it. Seriously, what is wrong with you, KQ? Yeosang as a performer is a unique one. Because Yeosang is naturally quiet, many people tend to accidentally overlook him. However, on stage, Yeosang is extremely eye-catching. Whether it be his deep voice, awe-inspiring dancing, or ethereal presence on stage, Yeosang can grab your attention in an instant. Since I'm labeling the members, Hongjoong the captain, Sungwon the siren, and Yuno the engine, Yeosang is the pillar. Yeosang balances the ATEEZ members not only with his relaxed personality, but also his quick thinking and dance skills as seen in Inception. Yeosang's solo is also to be mentioned as we truly are able to take in his voice. Along other songs, Horizon, Now This Place Is Not a Home, and Dune, if you have the chance, please go listen to Legacy in full to understand Yeosang a bit more. I'm going to trigger some people when I say this. San is the face of ATEEZ. Now before any of you go into the comments or proclaims X member is the actual face of the group or there is no face of the group, listen before typing. I say San is the face of the group because San is the most recognizable member. San's stage aura, offstage cuteness, his absolute gentleman persona, his love for his home Nanhae. San is a very easy to recognize member, be it his face or body. This includes his talent, his body control, his gorgeous singing, his facial expressions. San is the first person many newer fans may think of when they hear the name ATEEZ. None of this diminishes the other members though. San deserves the recognition for being the powerhouse performer he is. San is an unstoppable force of energy on stage. It doesn't matter the genre or stage. San is giving his all. Hell, sometimes even more. From his solo work to his group work, there is never a moment when San is lacking or half-assing himself. This can be seen honestly in all the performances, but to highlight some, his solo song Creep, Gorilla, Hala Hala, and The Real. Mingi is the reason I got into ATEEZ, and I think that speaks to who Mingi is. While I claim San is the face of the group, Mingi is the one to also catch many fans' eyes, especially when it comes to their live stages. Mingi is a wildcard, as his onstage extrovert persona does not match his offstage goofy persona. Offstage, Mingi is extremely silly and is often messed with by the other members. He's called Princess and takes pride in it. On stage, Mingi is a beast. It's like a switch goes off as he exhibits this strong masculine persona. With his solo song Roar along with the group songs Bouncy, Blind, and Ariba, Mingi plays and fills with his rap verses and voice. His iconic fix on immediately hypes up the listener. I was serious calling Mingi a wildcard as Mingi seems to be limitless in his talent. can we be real and just agree Wooyoung is the heart of the group? There's no one who loves and cares for ATEEZ more than Wooyoung. Homie has the nickname Homotron 3000 because he's affectionate with his homies. Wooyoung as a performer is a star. His love for performing is so evident no matter what he's doing, solo work or group work. Positioned as the lead dancer, Wooyoung's passion for his dance is strong. He uses various styles, but his street dancing is one to note. The way Wooyoung moves and contors his body to fit any song is mesmerizing. His knowledge of street dancing also helps when he wants to call out certain individuals for certain things. Outside of his playful personality, Wooyoung is a true performer, always wanting to perfect and tighten things. Wooyoung's and all of ATEEZ's drive to better himself is admirable. Wooyoung also has a heavenly voice, typically singing in the higher range with Jungkook. This is evident in his solo song Sagittarius, Miss Sunrise, and Good Little Boy. The money of the group and Golden Voice of Korea, Fight Me, Jungkook is truly an amazing being. With his easily recognizable voice and his unique humor, people tend to forget that Jungkook is a very good dancer. While yes, we love to hear his voice and high notes, we have to give the man his just dues when it comes to dancing. Jungkook doesn't just keep up with the members, he thrives in the choreography. Watch any Jungkook fancam and you'll see how amazing of a dancer he truly is. And while it's mentioned, of course we have to talk about his singing. Jungkook, before being known as an ATEEZ member, he was known for a very specific video that haunts every ATEEZ's dreams. Yeah, Mr. was known and is still known for being able to sing heavenly, but also break apples in half. In all seriousness, Jungkook's vocals are angelic. His vocal range is insane, going from extreme highs to very soulful lows. Jungkook is also the king of high notes, typically taking over the high notes for the group songs and his solo songs. To experience his full range, I suggest To Be Your Light, Everything, Utopia, and Celebrate as some good songs to listen to. Often simply known as the Hydra. It's a serpent-like lake monster in Greek mythology and Roman mythology. Its lair was the Lake of Lerna in the Argo. In the canonical Hydra myth, the monster is killed by Heracles, or Hercules depending on who you are, as the second of his 12 labors. According to Hesiod, the Hydra was the offspring of Typhon and Echidna. It had poisonous breath and blood so virulent that even its scent was deadly. The Hydra possessed many heads, the exact number of which varies according to the source. Later versions of the Hydra story add a regeneration feature to the monster. For every head chopped off, the Hydra will regrow 2 heads. In ancient Greece, the proverbial expression cutting off a Hydra was used to describe tasks that are hopeless or endlessly futile, drawing from the myth of the Hydra's regenerative heads. I use the Hydra as a symbol for 2 reasons. 1, I wanted a water-like creature that represents them, and 2, the Hydra while doing research kind of reminds me of ATEEZ, not in the sense of it being a domineering creature whose blood is so vile that even its stench causes death, but what its power represents. The Hydra regrows 2 heads every time one is cut off. The scene of Hercules greatly represents its power. Eurystheus, the king of Tyrants, sent Heracles to slay the Hydra. Upon reaching the swamp near Lake Lerna, Heracles covered his mouth and nose with a cloth to protect himself from the poisonous fumes. He then confronted the Hydra, wielding either a harvesting sickle, a sword, or his famed club. Heracles then attempted to cut off the Hydra's head. 1 or 2 more heads would grow back in its place. The Hydra was invulnerable as long as it retained at least 1 head. That last sentence is what's important. As long as one remains, others will grow back. Let's look back at ATEEZ's journey. The group has had many, and I mean many, trials and tribulations. Being from a small company, an unknown company, is no easy feat. The music industry, K-pop included, runs on reputation and name. If you're a new group from a large well-known company, it's easier to get a spot in the music shows and have larger and more grand debuts. Meanwhile, smaller unknown company groups have to fight for whatever remaining slots there is, sometimes not being able to perform at all. Exposure is a difficult thing, as once again, bigger companies get their groups on variety shows and TV, while smaller ones have their groups busk and perform outside in public. ATEEZ has been through this, cutting their songs short and doing all they could to get any attention. ATEEZ, through their continuing growth, has been plagiarized to hell and back. There hasn't been a year that ATEEZ wasn't going through a plagiarism scandal since the start of 2021. The award shows for a while dismissed and even ignored ATEEZ's accomplishments, only ever nominating the group to make sure they come and perform at their award shows. Haters and antis do everything in their power to exclude ATEEZ from any conversation that is about music and achievements. Think all these hits as Hercules with his sickle, or sword, cutting and hacking ATEEZ down, trying their best to kill them. However, as mentioned, for every head cut off, 2 more grow back. For every time ATEEZ is snubbed, ignored, dismissed, or flat out hated, the group always comes back with achievements, viral moments, and fantastic performances. Of all the K-pop groups I actually stan, ATEEZ is a group who I truly consider to have an unskippable discography. Of course, there's a few that I might not listen to as much, but they are never bad songs, just not my taste. ATEEZ will prove those who speak down on them that they will always come back twice as strong, not by words, but by performances. All this started with a mixtape, Ignored for a Year, sent by a random teen who loved music so much that he took the chance to join this company alone, learn 100 words overnight, watch training friends come and go until he was joined by the people who he considers his brothers, crying in the car as he thinks about his members and how hard they work. KQ Entertainment is the underdog story we like to hear about. The small, unknown, unloved company who took in a ragtag team and assisted them in becoming the success story they are. I personally believe that ATEEZ is the blueprint for small companies to follow when it comes to success. Sometimes you don't need fancy equipment, boatloads of money, or instant success. All it takes is the support from those around you and believing in oneself. The end quote about the Hydra being invulnerable as long as one head is alive stuck with me because while yes, ATEEZ can be cut down, broken, and hurt, as long as they have their one head, ATEEZ, this group is invulnerable. ATEEZ is the backbone of ATEEZ. Our love for their music, their variety content, their live stages, their singing, dancing, and our love for the members makes this group grow and soar to new heights. The way we cheer and cry at even some of the smallest achievements because this fandom is proud of their idols. Here's a small story. I lost my grandmother back in 2021. It was a sudden death. She stood up and just collapsed. Her heart gave out. I had a strong relationship with my grandmother because she raised me while my mom worked. I struggled with her death. I couldn't eat. I struggled to sleep to the point I developed insomnia. Hell, I blamed myself for not visiting earlier and thought I could have prevented her death. My aunt, whose birthday she died on, decided that we, her, me, and my mother, needed to get away from the mourning, and we rode up to Atlanta for an overnight trip. At that point in time, I was already into K-pop. I wasn't a fan of ATEEZ, but I knew the group's name. I even added some songs randomly to see if I would like them. On the drive up to Atlanta, I had my earphones in, and the song One Day at a Time played. This song did something to me. I felt like they were actually helping me process my grief. On the return trip back home, I went to my first K-pop store and bought my first light stick, like Teeny, I didn't know it was ATEEZ light stick at the time, and albums. I was also asked which free poster I would like, and in a panic, I said ATEEZ. ATEEZ did for me what other K-pop groups do for others. They resonated with me. I felt something with ATEEZ that I didn't feel with other groups I stan before ATEEZ. I felt this strange connection through their music, and standing ATEEZ bettered me in a way. I traveled alone to ATEEZ as my first concert. I joined a group chat and made and met friends because of ATEEZ. I'm doing things I never thought of doing because my admiration for ATEEZ gave me a push. I believe this can be said for other ATEEZ, however or why ever they discovered ATEEZ. This fandom's love for them shows why ATEEZ is growing as a group. And because of ATEEZ's love for ATEEZ, ATEEZ betters their performance to show their love back.
Yeah, they can all try, but they never break. It's overwhelming. Hold on tight, I'll be here. Don't forget it. Cause your life sometimes we need a helping hand. You
자, 둘, 셋! 헬멧 소팀 파이팅!